If a second passport could buy you time, access and options, not just travel perks, would you take it? Welcome back to our Tuesday chats. I'm sitting here with Nuri Katz, founder of Apex Capital Partners, one of the most experienced advisors in the citizenship by investment arena. He has helped clients worldwide navigate second citizenships and has weighed in for Forbes and Bloomberg on where the industry is heading. Today, we'll demystify Caribbean CIPs, zoom in on Antigua and Barbuda, and answer whether Plan B passports make sense for you. Let's jump in. Can you tell me about your background working in the Citizenship by Investment program and your experience here in Antigua and Barbuda?
Well, I've had a long amount of experience in this industry. I started in 1992 practicing Canadian immigration law in various different types of and aspects of the law. Canada was actually the first country that created the industry of investor migration.
Okay.
When in 1997, everybody knew that Hong Kong was going to switch over to China from being managed by the British. And a lot of people started getting nervous, and they started lobbying the Canadian government in the 80s to find a way that they could immigrate to Canada. And the Canadian government started a program where for an investment you could immigrate. And so that's what I got into, and I was working with people from all over the world. That program kind of ended about 15 years ago. And just as it ended, and possibly because it ended, the Caribbean CIP programs started becoming popular because Canada was no longer available. That's one of the reasons that the CIP became popular. And so about 13 years ago, I moved down to Antigua and started working in the citizenship by investment space throughout the Caribbean and in numerous other countries, in Montenegro and Cyprus and elsewhere. We also consult governments as to how to create these programs, how to manage these programs, how to change these programs, or even I've consulted governments about not doing these programs. So I have a long experience around the world.
How many countries do offer a program?
Well, it changes, and actually just today I got licensed by El Salvador.
Oh, okay.
El Salvador has a CIP program that it's the first Bitcoin-friendly program, $1 million in
Wow.
Bitcoin.
In Bitcoin?
In Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
And we just became government licensed agents for that country. There are some small countries also now that are creating these programs. One of them is San Tomé.
Where is that?
It's in Africa.
In where?
In Africa.
Okay.
And we just got licensed there today as well. Both those programs sort of just started recently. They're actually going to be big competition for the Caribbean
Okay.
countries. We also work in an island called Vanuatu, which is in the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, amazing.
And you should know it because it sounds like it's very exquisite compared to Antigua, but it's actually 2.5 times bigger than Antigua.
Really?
And most Antiguans haven't even heard of it.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Which is pretty funny, but I'm sure they haven't heard of Antigua either. So.
Wow, and so the new programs coming up, obviously the Caribbean is more, it's a lasting program, it's got a good reputation. So how does it compare, you know, when you're talking to your clients and you've got an array of different countries, how do you focus on which one that would suit them best?
Well, it depends on a number of different things and really the personal circumstances of each client. Okay. And generally, it depends on what's their original citizenship, where do they live,
right.
Where do they want to live, are they doing this as a just in case thing, are they doing it because they actually want to make a big change to their lives, like
Relocate.
we did.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And so we look at them, and we, for example, also in terms of citizenship, there are some countries that aren't accepted in the Caribbean. For example, since the beginning of the Ukraine conflict with Russia, the Caribbean stopped accepting Russians.
Yeah.
But they're accepted in
Other
Vanuatu,
countries.
for example.
Okay.
So when we speak to somebody from Russia, then we can't offer the Caribbean, we can only offer Vanuatu. So we look at that. We then look at really what the personal goals are of each person. With Americans, for example, or British, they are looking to diversify for political reasons. It's interesting, in America, there's the people on the left are worried about the people on the right, and the people on the right are worried about the people on the left. And so they all want an insurance policy. They aren't planning on picking up and moving their businesses and coming to Antigua, but for Americans, they're more likely to be interested in purchasing a property in Antigua and making it a lifestyle choice, not just an insurance policy like many other countries do. Some countries that are limited, people from countries that are limited in their travel, their visa-free travel, they're looking for the visa-free travel that the Antigua passport offers. Those are people from the Middle East and from China and from other countries. For Americans and British, they're not looking so much for that. For them, it's an insurance policy. The world is in the midst of humongous changes, from wars, the economy, the tariffs everywhere, immigration that is, huge amounts of immigration around the world that has created housing crises in different places. And wealthier people who are our clients understand that in order to save and make your money, the name of the game is diversification. And it's the same thing in your own personal life.
Yes, absolutely.
And so there are a lot of reasons to get citizenship. I have, for example, a client from an Asian country. I don't want to say it because I don't want anybody to know about that, but whose child was about to be conscripted into the army. And he didn't want him to be conscripted into the army. He wanted to live in the country, and the country was at war. And so he got citizenship of St. Kitts and then gave up his citizenship in his own country and got a work permit in his citizenship, in his St. Kitts passport. And so he lives in his own homeland, not as a citizen. And so his son is not a citizen and can't be conscripted to the army.
I would do that. I would,
So would I. So the reasons for getting second citizenships are humongous and varying very much dependent on which part of the world you're from. But with a lot of the people who we're working with, and the fastest growing community of people searching for second citizenships is amazingly the United States.
Yeah, it is.
The trajectory is amazing, whereas 5 years ago nobody was interested in getting citizenship from the United States. Now it's the fastest growing market.
So you're talking about, people not looking for other passports are from the US, like same with me, Okay.
It's the fastest growing market. As a matter of fact, for us, actually, it's wonderful. We don't have to keep traveling to China to promote our industry. We can go to Miami and New York. No, it's wonderful. And also, for me personally, as an American, I understand the American mentality. I speak their language. And I can help them understand the value of the citizenship, and also in terms of lifestyle.
Lifestyle, yeah.
Antigua has, even since I've been here, which is 13 years now, has developed beautifully. We're in a gorgeous new restaurant, an Asian new restaurant that's wonderful. We both come here probably once or twice a week.
We do.
And
We're very lucky.
It's wonderful. It's
Yeah,
right near our
yeah.
homes. So and there are a multitude of restaurants and hotels and beautiful developments. As a matter of fact, just about a kilometer from here, there's a beautiful gated community called Jolly Harbor, which is where your office is.
Yeah.
That is, it's just a wonderful beach community that is developing greatly and beautifully.
Yeah.
And there's a marina there, a shopping center, a wonderful
it's kind
supermarket.
of like from like, so Americans and British can feel comfortable coming to Antigua.
Yeah. There's a lot of activities. Antigua also has one thing that's also pretty special, and within the countries that have CIP in the Caribbean, they have a private international school.
Yeah.
Which originally was why we moved here, because our kids had to go to a good school, and we wanted an international school because we live an international lifestyle. But then we fell in love and enjoy all the other pleasures of Antigua.
The citizenship program sounds very easy, and it's something everyone should be thinking about. What are the downsides and the challenges that people should think about before, starting that process?
Well, the misconception about the program is that we're all running around the world selling passports from our raincoats.
Yeah.
It's really not like that. These countries have, over the years, and they're improving it over and more, have created a very serious due diligence process. They understand that they're part of the international security architecture. And so when they award citizenship and then a passport that allows people to travel to foreign countries, they have to take responsibility for the person who they gave the passport to. And they take that responsibility very seriously. They, when you apply, you have to go through a very stringent due diligence process that's outsourced to international, mostly British, American, Canadian due diligence firms, which are firms of private detectives who sometimes, not all the time, but they do really deep due diligence. They can often go do site visits to check if you really are living in the house that you said you're living in. The application process, in all honesty, is very onerous.
That's good.
You really need to show the government mostly how you accumulated your money, and they want to see your bank accounts. They want to see your financial statements. They want to really understand that you've made your money in a legal, honest way. They have the right to refuse you. They don't have to give citizenship to everybody. So they obviously can refuse based on criminality, and that's a given, and any country can do that.
Does it happen a lot?
Do
you, in the number
well,
of people
that's
that you
actually a
see?
very interesting question, because the big countries, the European Union, the United States, and the UK, who look at these programs where they understand that people are getting passports and can travel to their countries with those passports, they look at the issue of how many people are refused by the country. So how stringent is the country? Well, it's interesting, not that many refusals happen at the government level, but a lot of refusals happen at the level of my company.
At the beginning,
so
the entry.
I won't accept a client if I believe the client is going to be rejected, or if I believe that there's any kind of risk that involved in working with that client. And we have a very stringent due diligence process where we use international databases. We check out our clients in the same way all the major private banks, the international private banks, check out their clients. There's a very serious KYC, know your client process, We use the same databases that Chase Manhattan or UBS uses. And so when we are concerned that either the client will hurt our reputation, is sanctioned somewhere, or is likely to be sanctioned somewhere, or even has negative PR on them, then we won't present that client to the governments. And so we basically stop them before they get to the government. And when they get to the government, we pretty much know that they're good.
Yeah.
The government expects us to do that. It's also a very interesting dynamic as opposed to a country like the UK or a country like Canada, where in my immigration practice in Canada, my job is to get my client immigration status.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not concerned about the reputation of the Canadian government. I'm concerned about getting my client what he's looking for. And that's a legitimate, obviously if I know that he's a criminal, I can't hide that, and I shouldn't work with him to begin with. But obviously I need to protect him and represent him in an honest, correct way. But I'll fight for him. And the government doesn't really expect us to be the first line of defense. But in these smaller countries, they really do expect us to be on their side. It's again a very different dynamic, you know. And I've gone to court with the Canadian government when clients have been refused in a way that I would think that I didn't agree with, that I thought was possibly illegal. Here, you really can't do that.
No.
And that's actually very important also in terms of your serving of your client and choosing your clients well, because as of recently, if a client is refused citizenship in one country of the Caribbean CIPs, then he won't be allowed to apply anywhere else.
Yeah.
And there's good and bad about it. In other countries, you can apply and reapply and reapply. But these countries have created a database of clients that have been refused, so they can now check if they've been refused somewhere else, and they'll refuse them as well, because they're trying to harmonize their standards in a way.
So that leads me on to my next question about the Caribbean as a whole. People worry about the longevity of passports, and are the countries, you know, working together or singly to keep their programs running?
Well, the important thing to realize is that when you get citizenship, you're getting citizenship for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's really the only asset class that you actually keep for your whole life, and then you can pass on to your children and their children. You become a real citizen of a country. And so if you amortize the cost, by the way, of over the next 50 years of having this citizenship, then it's just a couple of bucks a year that you're paying for in advance for your citizenship. But so in terms of, once you become a citizen, you're a citizen for life, unless you've defrauded the government at the beginning and then they find out about it. But if you've received it in an honest and proper way, then you're a citizen for the rest of your life. Obviously, you want that citizenship to be respected around the world.
Yeah.
And so, as I said before, the governments of these countries really understand very well their international diplomatic responsibilities, and the fact that they're, again, a part of the international security architecture. And they take that very seriously. It's their reputation, which is very, very important. If the reputation of Antigua is hurt, then just a small little reputational issue can affect the economy as a whole here, because the economy is so small, could affect it in a very serious manner. And so they're being very careful, and what is lovely actually about it is that from when it started, St. Kitts started the first CIP in 1984, and Dominica started one in 1993, and then St. Lucia, Grenada, and Antigua and Barbuda entered the industry in between 2013 and 2015. What it was in the 80s, it really was people walking around handing out passports in different locations. But where it's come to now is a very, very sophisticated system that is answerable to the world, the international community, as to their standards, and they keep building up their capacity to make more serious decisions, dig deeper, understand who their clients are in a better way, so as to maintain the reputation of the country. So I would say, knowing where we were a while ago and knowing where we are now, I think that there's pretty serious assurances that these programs will last, but as we tell our clients, we don't know when it's going to stop, so you should apply now.
Yeah, and obviously there's quite a few different pathways to the program. You've got the National Development Fund, which is just a donation, and then the property aspect, where you purchase a property over 300,000. Which ones tend to be more popular for your clients, and why do you think that is?
Well, again, that also depends on where the client is from.
Right.
So people from Asia who are restricted in their ability to travel, they just want the passport.
So they just do the investment fund.
They just do the investment fund. They fix their losses, and they're aware of what their losses are, and they don't worry about them. So people from Asia who are looking at CIP are generally looking at getting the passport. That's really what they're interested in. But people from North America or the UK or Europe are looking at trying to enjoy not only the passport, but enjoy a change in lifestyle. And so they do look at property purchases, and they look at their ability to spend time here. As a matter of fact, just now, literally as we speak, the programs are being changed, and the governments are going to insist on a residency requirement.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you that. Right. I'm glad you brought that up. So 30 days, do you think that, for Brits and for the US, I'm sure they'd love to come for 30 days, maybe 2 weeks at the beginning, 2 weeks at the end, especially if they've got property. But how do you think that's going to impact maybe the Asian clientele?
Well, for people like you, who it's just a direct flight from London, it's 6-7 hours, and you're here.
They are opening up more flights.
And there are a lot of flights, and it's for us world travelers, a 7-hour flight is like taking the tube down to the next, down to the center of London.
Yeah.
But for normal people, it's flying from Asia to Antigua is really, really difficult. Or from the Middle East to the Caribbean is going to be difficult. And so we suspect that the volume of applicants is going to go down specifically because of that reason, which is a good thing. And it's a good thing because of a number of reasons. One is the less applicants there are, the faster the process.
Yes. What is the processing time at the moment?
Well, in the different islands, it's different times, but generally it's about 6 months. That's what we're sort of counting on from when you make an application.
Yeah, because the application process, to get all the documents, etc., how long would you say?
It can take, some clients of ours do it in 2 days.
Wow.
Some clients of ours do it in 2 years.
Okay.
It really depends on the person, how organized they are, how organized they are in their life altogether, how many people know where their birth certificate is. Well, some people do.
It's true, yeah.
Some people have lost it long ago, so you have to apply for a new birth certificate. One of the main requirements is a police certificate of not showing that you are not a criminal. And that sometimes can take a while.
From every country that
you've lived in for 6 months over the last 10 years and are a citizen of.
Right.
And so if you are like the client that I was speaking to just about an hour ago, living in Orange County in California, but you're of Asian, you're originally from Asia, then you're going to have to get a police certificate from your country and a police certificate from the United States. And if you've lived in 3 countries, which I've lived in 5 countries, so I had when I applied for my citizenship, it took a lot to get it. Because I had to go to 5 different countries to get police certificates, and I actually had to fly to a couple of the countries to do it.
Yeah, police certificates nowadays, now you can get them online, but back
Generally,
then, 13 years ago.
Back when I was young.
Yeah.
But no, not in all countries. You can't get in all countries.
Here, you have to go in person to get a police certificate.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. For example.
Yeah.
And in St. Kitts as well. And so.
Okay. Well, 6 months. If someone's organised, that's pretty quick to get a passport.
At the end of the day, it's not. Although the documents, there are a lot of documentation that you need to put together in order to submit a file. But if you are somewhat organized, it's really not that hard. Yeah. And it's a lot easier if you're from Western countries, I'd say. If you're from, third world developing countries where people do business in a non-Western manner, it's hard to put a square into the wrong peg. Yeah. Yeah. So it's hard for them to show their system of capital accumulation. The documentation is different. Very often people don't have the documentation, so they have to figure out how to get it. And all that. So for us, we're lucky that with Americans,
everything's online,
most
isn't it?
Americans have tax returns.
Yeah.
Most Americans have bank accounts, especially the type of wealth that we're talking about. But there are countries where people keep their money in a mattress, and so they can't show it, and that becomes difficult. It may be totally legal, but they don't trust their banks, or they don't trust their governments, and they know that a bank can just close down at any moment, and they don't have depositors insurance or whatever it is. So, but in with the UK and North America, it's relatively easy.
So what would you say to any of our viewers listening? Because over the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of people asking me, what's the citizenship program about? Why should I do it? What's the benefits? If you had to just sum it up in, because you have multiple passports for multiple Caribbean islands and different places, is there a sense? What are the benefits, and is there a sense of relief or security? What's it giving people? Well,
again, it all depends on your personal circumstances, but you touched on the sense of security.
Yeah.
So a lot of our clients, people from North America or the UK, they want to get this passport just in order to put it in their drawer in case they need it. Yeah. In case there's a time when they feel that they want to move elsewhere. Then there are people that are afraid. We're getting a lot of Jewish clients now from North America because of the rise of anti-Semitism, which has risen a lot since the Gaza war. But even before that, for 10 years before that, it was rising. And people Jews have a long history of unhappy occurrences. And so a lot of them have learned from history in Europe, people couldn't get out. And so you want to be able to get out. Again, there's a political issue. There are people who, especially wealthy people, who are generally afraid of leftists coming in. And right now there is amongst the wealthy in the United States who may be really happy about Trump, but Trump was a reaction to the leftist Biden. And what they're worried about is in 3 or 4 years, what's going to be, is the pendulum going to swing the other way? And will it become a socialist country? And so they just want to be prepared for whatever the eventuality is. And in addition to that, again, as I said, this is a very long-term purchase.
Yeah.
It's something you're going to have for the rest of your life and for the rest of your children's lives. And you just don't know where the world is going to be in 30, 40, 50 years from now.
Absolutely.
And having options is incredibly important. And again, wealthy people are all about diversification.
Yeah. Well, luckily in Antigua, when you do the program, you get a property. You've also got no inheritance tax, no worldwide income. So from an asset, at least you've got protections there for your family, for you to come. And, you know, it's a great place to live. You know, we both live here.
Yep.
What are the key things that you'd say to people if they were like, what's Antigua got that St. Kitts or St. Lucia or Dominica?
Well, for us, again, what was important was the international school that they don't have in other countries. I think that there's a feeling in Antigua that it's a little bit more developed than the other countries.
The flight hub,
there's good airlift here.
Yeah.
There's a new international airport that was built here probably like 10 years ago by now that has very good airlift. Other countries are also trying to lift their or build up their airlift. But for now, that was actually very important. I need to be able to fly out anytime that I want. I have to be able to get, and having to lay over in different places in order to get to where I'm going is difficult. And so I try to, that's important to me, that where the ability to fly out at a moment's notice. I often have to, just last week I had to fly to New York. I found out at 8 o'clock at night that the next morning I have to fly to New York, and I was able to fly to New York.
Yeah, it's very handy. Every day.
Not every country has that.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for telling us your stories and what you think about the program. And if anyone wants to get in touch with Nuri, all his details are in the description below.
And thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. It was nice
very
to
nice
speak
speaking
to you.
Tuesday Chats with Luxury Locations.